video is sponsored by MPB.
What do you think? Do I look like a failed music video director today? Be honest. In fact, that's a terrible idea. Don't be honest. I mean, truth be told, I don't really care what I look like today, because apparently the feels like temperature is going to be 42 degrees. And if someone could explain the difference between the feels like temperature and the temperature, that would be great. But yeah, I'm British, and I'm not built for 80% humidity or these kinds of temperatures. So if you had any expectations of this video, please roll them up and just launch them as far as you can. Started moaning already. Business as usual. So at the start of the year, I made a video where I talked through all of my cameras. And I mentioned my Lumix GX1 and some changes that I wanted to make to it, or some upgrades, or some extra accessories. I mentioned I wanted a couple more batteries. I only had one battery for it, which made all-day shooting a little bit tricky because this is 15 years old. It doesn't have USB-C charging. So I bought a couple of batteries, and I also mentioned I wanted to try and find a viewfinder for it. And I have. And it's awesome. Yes, I'm hiding in my air-conditioned hotel room. Anyway, a bit of context for those of you who don't recognize where I am. I'm in the town of Camogli, which is just south of Genoa in northern Italy. And I've been here for a couple of days already shooting with a different camera, which I'll talk about in the next video. But for my last day, I thought, why don't I just shoot with this for a day? And this is this camera's third trip to Italy, I think. I've shot with it on the Amalfi Coast. I've shot with it in Tuscany before, and I really like it. It's quite a dated camera in many ways now, but the grip, in fact, both grips, the front and the back, thumb grip, I love. The thumb wheel, which you can change the function of by pressing it, I really enjoy. And now with the EVF that flips up and down, I think it's a fantastic little camera. I mean, like the camera, the EVF is not modern. It's I mean, it's not even got an eye sensor, so you have to press a button to turn it off and on. And it's not the biggest, it's not the brightest, but in terms of how I use this camera, it's completely changed it. Obviously. And today, as I pretty much always do with this camera, I'm going to be shooting with my trusty 20mm f1.7, a lens that I reckon I've had since circa 2012, something like that. Another fantastic piece of kit. Anyway, I'm talking now, just to avoid going back out into the heat. So let's go back out, and I think a thunderstorm might be brewing, which is exciting. This absolutely isn't weather sealed, so we'll see how we go. So I've wanted to come here for a number of years now, mostly in winter, which is why I'm here at the end of June. Go figure. But the reason, or two reasons I've wanted to come here in winter are, number one, the swells. And I don't know how common they are, but if you Google photos of Camogli, you'll see lots of big swells and it looks amazing. And secondly, the sun obviously sets much further to the south. And even though we're on the west coast of Italy, we're so far north that the coast sort of almost faces northwest, which means this time of year, the sun sets kind of in line with the coast rather than parallel to it, which doesn't look as good in photos. So yeah, maybe at some point I'll come back in winter. My reasoning was I didn't have a chance to in winter, and I thought, well, surely it's good in summer as well, and it is just hot. Well, it's about 36 hours after I covered myself in gelato, and I'm back in Wales. I'm very pleased to be back in Wales, even though it's only about 2 degrees cooler than Italy. Bit of a heat wave here at the minute. It is a bit less humid, so I'm slightly more comfortable, but I shouldn't be in black. Or on a bike, I don't think, but there we go. I'm out with my GX1 again. That's what matters. And I'm having a nice time. I was trying to think on the plane yesterday why it is that I feel so much more connected to a camera like this when it's got a viewfinder. And I think it's for much the same reason that I don't really like shooting with drones, as I've spoken about before on this channel, because I like to be able to see exactly what the camera is seeing and shooting with my own eyes. It makes me feel much more connected to the photos, and therefore the difference between this and this might not seem much, but it's massive to me. It's why I don't really like the Ricoh GR series. Phenomenal cameras, amazing image quality in such a tiny package, but I just really don't like shooting like that. Yeah. Anyway. Those clouds are good. Just go and try and find somewhere to shoot with those, maybe in the background. Further up the coast, perhaps. Also, if anybody knows of any energy gels that aren't disgusting, please let me know. I really like the chaotic nature of these sea defense structures. Although I wish they were more chaotic. A lot of them point the same way, but I also want the cloud to sort of rise above them a bit more. And I suppose I could go a bit further back. I would if I had a longer lens, but I'm stuck with the 40. So it's a little bit tricky. Will that cloud get any closer? I don't know. No, those clouds didn't come any closer, but never mind. Anyway, this video is very kindly sponsored by my kryptonite, which is MPB. In the days since returning from Italy, I've been having some very dangerous thoughts, in particular about that lens there, the Leica Lumix 15mm, a lens which I owned for many years and then stupidly sold. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that lens. I was at Llandudno Island the other night with my GX1 shooting, and I was thinking, oh, it would be nice to have something a little bit wider than the 20 every now and then. And then that thought developed into thinking, oh, if I had the 15, it wouldn't make much sense to pair it with the 20. That's too close. Maybe I'd pair it with the 25. Another lens which I had for many years and then stupidly sold. And then I was thinking, well, I do love shooting with this camera with primes, but I don't want to be changing lenses all the time. So perhaps I could get a second GX1. And then I'd need a second viewfinder. Dangerous thoughts, as I say. I mean, MPB pay me for these little segments where I talk about MPB. That's how sponsorships work. But with MPB, I typically end up giving them the money back, just immediately through the form of orders, which I should probably feed my kids more. But if you are dabbling in the used camera market, either as a buyer or a seller, then I couldn't recommend checking out MPB enough. Selling could not be simpler. You basically go onto the website and get an instant quote very easily. And if you're happy with that quote, they will arrange for a courier to come to your house to collect the kit fully insured. And then once they've assessed it, they'll pay you very quickly. Fantastic service. And it removes all of the faff in selling equipment. Photographing it, writing something akin to War and Peace to describe the condition of the equipment, dealing with questions or disputes or couriers, insurance, all that stuff. You don't have to worry about that with MPB. And if, like me, you're window shopping, Emily might be able to hear me, then MPB is a fantastic place to do it because everything comes with a warranty having been checked by experts before being listed on the site. It's fantastic. And so a big thank you to MPB for their continued support of this channel, and definitely check them out, as I say, if you're in the used market, which I'm not. I'm not buying anything
Anyway, what else can I say about this camera? I think it might be on the verge of becoming one of those kind of cult hero classic cameras. I mean, there are lots of digital cameras at the minute which are sort of stuck between being modern and being classics. And I think this is one of them. There are others. The Fuji X Pro 2, I would put in that category. Lots of people seem to really, really love that camera. The Lumix GM1, which I would love to buy, but it's maybe a bit steep for me. It's the tiny one, really, really tiny. Fantastic little camera. And yeah, I'd like to think that camera manufacturers are paying attention to the used camera market and what endures in terms of demand as the years go on. And I'd like to think that that will inform cameras in the future and design of cameras in the future with phenomenal little grips like this. I mean, imagine how many cameras Leica would sell if their Q series had a grip like that. Loads, I suspect. Something else I hope manufacturers are paying attention to. These are the batteries for my my X100 third-party batteries, and I really hope that it becomes industry standard for batteries to have a USB-C input. Why hasn't it yet? It's such a good idea. You can just do away with chargers. But I couldn't find those for the GX1, so I've just got normal third-party batteries for that, which is, I mean, it's not a problem, but a bit of a shame. I should also try and use the flash at some point. And also I've just noticed that this camera comes from an era where manufacturers would advertise the video specs on the camera. And I think they learned after cameras like this that that dates them very quickly. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.